This is News Today with WDW News Today. I'm Tom Corliss of WDWNT.com. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to make sure you never miss the latest from the Disney theme parks around the world. And yes, it's still the Toontown backdrop, but I'm going to leave it here until you go watch that episode of News Tonight. Anyway, here now the news from March 15th, 2023. Is he joking? I don't know. The Disney 100 celebration is officially coming to the Walt Disney World Resort starting later this year. What does later this year mean? We don't know because Disney said 3 different things in 3 different places today. But I'll tell you what they did say. EPCOT is set to be the primary location of the celebration and will be debuting a new nighttime spectacular for the occasion. We, of course, told you that back at the D23 Expo. Disney has released a first look at the new nighttime show, the permanent replacement for Harmonious, which will, of course, in fact, replace EPCOT Forever, which will return temporarily for a few months. This new show is set to debut sometime in the fall, if not by the end of the year. We've heard, again, conflicting things of, is it fall, is it December, when is the show debuting? But nonetheless, an original composition and evocative selections from the Disney songbook will be woven together to remind us that we are more alike than different in this new nighttime spectacular. And in addition to this new show, guests will be able to meet Mickey and Minnie Mouse in their platinum attire for the 100th anniversary, snap a selfie with a platinum sculpture of the one who started it all, being Mickey Mouse, and watch Spaceship Earth illuminate the evening with a new Spectacle of Light show. More information will be available in the coming months as the celebration is set to begin later this year. So let me talk about this for a second. There is a tweet from Disney Parks that says the celebration begins in the spring. Regardless of when the fireworks show debuts, it says it'll begin in the spring. A press release then says later this year, which could be any time after today through the end of the year. And then there's another press release that says late 2023. So we don't know. We know the fireworks show is fall. That much we know. When anything else will happen, your guess is as good as mine. I assume they'll clarify in the next few days. Everyone assumed April would be at least the start of decor and things of that nature, but none of that was clarified today. And honestly, this is more than we thought they were going to do for the 100th here at Walt Disney World. So we'll kind of just be at EPCOT, it seems, but maybe there'll be more. Maybe there'll be decor. Maybe there'll be a couple other little things here or there. We'll wait and see. But Disney had plenty more to announce about EPCOT today as well, releasing 2 new pieces of concept art showing off the new CommuniCore Plaza and CommuniCore Hall. The first shows inside CommuniCore Hall with colorful origami cranes and other artwork hanging from the ceiling. It appears to have the same wood ceiling as the Creations Shop and Connections Cafe, and eatery for that matter. The circular lights are reminiscent of the original CommuniCore fixtures as well. There's a multicolored statue of Figment, a figure of Steamboat Willie, an inside-out display, and more artwork. And CommuniCore Hall will also feature a dynamic exhibition space that will transform with each of the respective festivals throughout the year. The architecture of the building was designed by Walt Disney Imagineering to celebrate not only the legacy of EPCOT, but also the original CommuniCore buildings. Don't read into this art too much, right, other than the ceiling and the lighting, because obviously whatever's in the space is supposed to change. So will there actually be a Figment statue there all year, or will it be different statues and displays throughout the year? My bet is on the latter, and not that this is this is absolutely what that interior is going to look like all the time. The second piece shows CommuniCore Plaza facing the concert venue and the Mickey and Friends meet and greet area. That's right, Mickey and Friends are getting a dedicated meet and greet space once again in the park. It'll be right there and has a very Spaceship Earth style facade to it. No opening date or time frame was given for CommuniCore Hall, other than we know it's later this year, possibly fall. Disney did provide more information about the announced Figment meet and greet at EPCOT, saying that it will debut late this summer at the Imagination Pavilion. This will be the first time guests have been able to meet Figment since earlier in the 2000s, where they had the infamous Figzilla costume. And of course, prior to that, from the 1980s into the 1990s, you could meet the Dreamfinder and Puppet Figment outside the pavilion as well. Disney has not shown what this costume looks like. We don't have any idea of exactly what this meet and greet is going to be. I have heard from some people working on the project that it's turning out great and we should love it. And I'm this is probably the thing this year I'm the most excited for. I can't wait to see Figment, and he's going to be very soon, this summer. So stay tuned for that. Following a long hiatus during the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, the Happily Ever After Nighttime Spectacular has now returned to the Magic Kingdom, at least for a very special preview before its official debut, which will take place on April 3rd. As a special treat to Walt Disney World cast members, although let's be honest, it was Disney having a media event and needed cast members to fill the street for their B-roll footage, for being honest, which we are. They did have a preview of the show, and we were lucky enough to be in attendance thanks to some cast members that invited us. And so you can watch a full video of the show right here on our channel. We also have a full video of just the brand new Main Street projections as part of the show, so you can check that out for yourself. Please give it a watch. It's great to see. It was a really cool moment to see Happily back. And I know it was real emotional for some people. I don't think I got wrapped up in it as much as other people because I just assumed it was going to come back, right? And again, that wasn't a safe assumption, I think, for a lot of people because usually if a show debuts for an anniversary, typically that stays on past the anniversary anyway. My assumption was from basically like the summer of 21 when we started hearing things about Enchantment, I was like, it's not going to go over well. And people are going to reject it, and I think Happy's just going to come back when this is over. And we kind of kept saying that through the event until finally we got to the expo last year, and Josh Tomorrow said this would be the case. And kudos to Disney for doing it, for listening, and for bringing back what I think hands down is the greatest Disney fireworks show that's ever been produced. And now it's got the projections on Main Street too, so it's only even better than it was before. It's as good as it's ever been. With the Walt Disney World 50th anniversary celebration ending, it also means, again, the end of Enchantment and as well the end of the Enchantment fireworks dessert parties. But don't worry, there will be a new fireworks dessert party for the return of Happily Ever After. In fact, starting on April 1st, the Happily Ever After fireworks dessert party will be returning through April 1st and 2nd, even though it's still Disney Enchantment that's performing. Don't ask me why they're doing this. It's just the way they're labeling it. Guests are able to make reservations online beginning March 23rd. Keep in mind, again, if you book it for April 1st and 2nd, you will not see Happily Ever After. You will see Disney Enchantment. And fireworks dessert parties are marketed as a fan favorite way to view the nighttime spectaculars. And not only are desserts and beverages offered, but also amazing view of the fireworks, also alcoholic beverages too. And since the fireworks are often a nighttime tradition amongst guests, a good viewing spot is hard to find sometimes, so why not get a guaranteed spot with a decent view at these firework dessert parties. First up, there's the Seats and Suites, and guests who purchase admission to the fireworks dessert party will be seated at Tomorrowland Terrace Restaurant and can indulge in delicious desserts prepared by pastry chefs such as chocolate-dipped strawberries and chocolate silk tarts, among other items. You can also enjoy a variety of cheeses and refreshing beverages, including beer and wine for those over the age of 21. Guests can choose their seats on the restaurant's patio while enjoying the beautiful view of the beloved nighttime spectacular. Admission for this is $114 per adult, that's ages 10 and up, and $69 per child, ages 3 to 10, tax included. Gratuity is not included or required. Then there's another version called the pre-party dessert party. It's very similar to Seats and Suites, but instead of sitting on the restaurant patio, you'll be escorted to a prime standing area in the Plaza garden. You'll have an amazing view as you watch the skies light up for the fireworks show. Admission to that is $99 for adults, $59 for children. Same parameters apply with that one. Then there's the post party. Yes, folks, there are 3 of these. It's also similar to the first 2 parties, but first guests will check in at Tomorrowland Terrace Restaurant starting 60 minutes prior to the start of the fireworks. Shortly before the fireworks start, cast members will escort you again to that prime standing area in Plaza Gardens. And after the nighttime spectacular, you'll be escorted back to Tomorrowland Terrace Restaurant where you can enjoy desserts, a variety of cheese and beverages, both non-alcoholic and alcoholic. That one is also $99 for adults and $59 for children. Gratuity not included or required. I usually don't stop and give you a review of something here, but I'm going to save some people some money here. The one with the seats is the only one that's worth doing. Otherwise, the other 2 parties put you in Plaza Gardens. That's the hub grass is the term most people use. It's not the official term, but hub grass. That's where they put you for the show. That is not a good viewing spot for the show, number 1. And number 2, they really pack people in. So if you are not the first people to check in and get down there, you have an even worse view from an already bad spot that has trees and light poles and speaker poles and all sorts of stuff in your line of view. For this amount of money, being packed into that hub grass is a terrible, terrible value. The one with the seat, as long as you check in early and get those seats toward the absolute front of the terrace, I'm not going to tell you it's a bad time. There's unlimited, it's cheap alcohol, but it's unlimited. It's a good time. The desserts are good enough. We have a review of some previous versions up on the site you could go read, but I will tell you this, under no circumstances am I going to recommend the pre or post party. Either get the one with the seats or don't bother. You'll be better off just standing in the street, honestly. It's not that hard to squeeze in, as it inches closer to showtime, but don't put yourself through that. It's way too much money to have a bad view and be packed with people into that tiny hub grass space. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, The Vacationeer, the engineers of your next magical vacation. Sit back and let their team of vacation planning experts craft your family's next magical Disney trip. The best part is their services are free. Visit www.nt.travel for details. Both Moana and Mirabel will appear in meet and greets at Walt Disney World this year. Beginning April 22nd, Moana will greet fellow Voyagers on Discovery Island at Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park just in time for the park's 25th anniversary in April. And at Magic Kingdom this fall, Mirabel from Walt Disney Animation Studios' Encanto will greet guests in Fairy Tale Garden surrounded by whimsical decor inspired by La Familia Madrigal. And as we previously reported, she's replacing Merida, and the area will be redesigned to look like the Casita Madrigal. The Space Mountain gift shop, the Tomorrowland Light and Power Company, has officially been renamed to the Tomorrowland Launch Depot. Signage with the new name was installed earlier this week as the store prepares to be shared with TRON Lightcycle Run. The new name is under the clock in the new Tomorrowland mural that was added a few days ago as well. The store will now have additional entrances. There is even one that will come from, if you're coming from TRON, basically the back of this building now has an entry because they want you to come in and buy something. We've already seen TRON outfits and other merchandise are already visible in the window displays, so they are getting ready to open. Speaking of TRON merchandise, Disney has released a look at the 3 merchandise collections coming to the Tomorrowland Launch Depot, and as well a pop-up shop on April 4th, the ride's opening day. The shop will host an experience like the Na'vi figure in Wind Traders, where you get to scan your face and put it on an action figure. But let's talk about all these different merchandise lines. First, Life on the Grid is a collection inspired by the design language of the digital world. Adults will find light-up jackets and other accessories like a backpack with an interactive identity disc that doubles as an audio speaker. The TRON Identity program, an all-new retail experience, offers guests a customizable program action figure and identity chip that can be used to reprogram other merchandise such as the interactive identity discs and remote control light cycles. Reservations for this interactive experience can be made beginning March 21st by visiting the Walt Disney World website. Those with a reservation for the TRON Identity program will enter Tomorrowland Launch Depot in order to have that experience. Lightcycles are fast, 2-wheeled vehicles on the grid akin to motorcycles in the real world, and the Thrill of the Race collection is comprised of racing-inspired apparel for adults and kids based on this. There's a light-up replica of Sam Flynn's helmet as seen in TRON Legacy. A separate decorative helmet bag is available for purchase as well. And for those that want to continue racing light cycles after visiting the grid, there are TRON Lightcycle handlebars. This interactive toy contains lights and sound effects from TRON and can turn into an interactive game for up to 4 players. Back to the Arcade captures its slice of the early 1980s arcade scene, complete with nods to Flynn's Arcade from the original film. Elements from video game cabinets were turned into backpacks and illuminated wall signs as well. There's a tumbler that includes vintage light cycles racing around a domed top. Quote, there are generations of guests now visiting Walt Disney World who grew up playing the TRON video games and imagining their bicycles were light cycles, explained Taryn Johnson, Senior Manager for Brand Merchandising with Global Product Creation. These collections have a dash of 1980s nostalgia mixed with incredibly fun items that continue the thrills of this new Tomorrowland attraction at home. When the attraction does open on April 4th, guests will find these products and more in the specially designed pop-up shop across from the Monsters, Inc. laugh floor. Of course, also featured in this collection, wasn't previewed in the post on the Disney Parks blog, but actually separately, there's a TRON Lightcycle Run MagicBand Plus that is coming. It was previewed in a short video on the Disney Parks Instagram where they used it to activate the locker system at the attraction. The band is blue with TRON Lightcycle Run on the puck. Illustrations of blue and orange light cycles represent the competing teams. The MagicBand, again, not above those items previewed, but clearly will be coming with the opening of the attraction. And when it does open, the new merchandise, again, is in a pop-up shop in Tomorrowland that seems like it'll be located somewhere within the former Stitch's Great Escape, whether that may be on the outside, sort of under the cover of the People Mover track, or it'll actually be in that first pre-show room of Stitch's Great Escape, which was the video pre-show room. It'll be somewhere within that space. They've decided to do this. Even though Launch Depot is going to open and be a space for this merchandise as well. Funny enough, they did this for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, where they didn't build a gift. This was a trademark of the Bob Chapek era, was they decided not to build actual gift shops with new lands and rides, and then the rest of the park kind of had to suffer for it, right? So you may remember Toy Story Land open, they only had those two little kiosks. So what they did was they turned several shops in the park into Toy Story Land shops. So right in character in the animation courtyard and Beverly Sunset Boutique, they ripped out the bakery and everything and put that in there. It was kind of a wreck. And then even for Ratatouille, they did the first couple days of merchandise they did in World Showplace, that big private event space in World Showcase. They had the stuff in there for some reason. And now they're doing this again. Of course, Stitch's Great Escape officially closed in July of 2020. It actually closed sometime before that when we told you it was closing and Disney said we were lying. But remember that, everybody? I remember that. One of the many times Disney said we lied. And Stitch's Great Escape, of course, opened in 2004, replacing the Alien Encounter, much to my chagrin. But some people thought this might be in Merchant of Venus. I'd be surprised. Merchant of Venus was actually just turned into a seating area for Anti-Gravity's Galactic Goodies just a few months ago. So we do think this is going to be in that, somewhere in that Stitch building, I think. Not in the theater, but in the pre-show room. Seems like a safe bet. If not, it'll just be outside underneath the People Mover. We'll see what happens. Pirates of the Caribbean experienced a multi-day closure this week, but cast members were quick to turn the unexpected downtime into magical moments for guests in Adventureland. In a video shared by TikTok user at strawberries_and_makeup, Pirates of the Caribbean cast members can be seen fulfilling their usual duties in a unique way as guests board a taped-down pirate ship on the ground while the ride is closed. Very energetic cast members stood in for the roles of the Pirates of the Caribbean audio animatronics cast, reenacting the entire ride while reading through the attraction script. And other members of the crew provide the sound effects and for guests aboard the quote-unquote ship. The dedicated pirates even serenaded guests with the attraction's anthem, of course, Yo-ho, yo-ho, a pirate's life for me. Pirates of the Caribbean did return to action on Tuesday, but this is just another real magic moment. Look at these cast members. The ride isn't operating, but this is probably more special than even experiencing the ride. This is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing that's going to be a family memory for people. I still remember Jungle Cruise was down for refurb at Disneyland, and they did a skipper school, and that to me was better than the attraction. The cast members just out there cracking jokes and teaching us how to be skippers and then giving us like a little paper certificate that we went to skipper school. That for me is so much more memorable than any ride I've ever had on the Jungle Cruise. This is why we say cast members are the magic, right? The ride is not working, and they still made magic for guests. And this is why they deserve a starting wage of $18 an hour. That's right. This is, again, just proof why Disney, you cannot replace these people. You know, if these people leave, your quality of work is just going to get worse and worse. Give them the money. Marquee signage for the Roundup Rodeo Barbecue Restaurant in Toy Story Land has been uncovered. As you can see, the marquee looks almost exactly like it did in the concept art. The sign has hanging lanterns that resemble the kerosene type used for camping, and Roundup Rodeo is designed to look like part of the playset, while barbecue has been added by Andy. A cutout of Bullseye is to the left of the sign, and barbecue is put together with a mixture of styles, including a letter B written with crayon and the letter Q covered with glitter. And another sign is styled like a page torn from a spiral-bound notebook, including a drawing, presumably made by Andy, of a place setting featuring a fork and a spoon and a plate with the words "Giddy up for barbecue" surrounded by 3 stars. It has a little green man sticker helping to hold it on to the Tinker Toy post. Walt Disney World also released a full video tour taking guests through the all-new Toy Story Roundup Rodeo Barbecue for the first time. The brand new Roundup Rodeo Barbecue restaurant, again, will open on March 23rd, but Disney, ahead of their media events this week, decided to spoil everyone's coverage and just show the video tour themselves. I watched this. I don't think it looks good. Again, I know we got some holdovers from this Chapek era of parks and resorts. This is definitely one of them. It has no windows. It looks like you're eating in the queue of Toy Story Mania. The tables are not super themed. They're like they're these very light, cheap metal chairs. I'm kind of not looking forward to this. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you feel differently. And I know you can certainly say it's meant for kids, but I mean, did we really need a restaurant that takes place in what looks like the queue of Toy Story Mania? Was that the Toy Story dining experience people wanted? I hate to be that guy. They have kind of refused to listen to their audience. People clearly want a Pizza Planet. I know pizza doesn't fit the things they need at Hollywood Studios because they already have Pizza Rizzo if you choose to eat there for some reason. I know some people like that pizza. I don't, but I know people like it. People are asking them to give them Pizza Planet, and this is instead what they got. And I don't think this is what anyone asked for. I think the only way that this venue made sense was if it was character dining, and it's not. So if it's not character dining, I don't really understand the function of this. I don't think this is going to be anyone's favorite interior or favorite food. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see. Chef Brian talked about the backstory of Andy building the restaurant playset in a behind-the-scenes video this week as well. The designers used a lot of quote-unquote handmade touches to make the venue look like a child's craft. No comment. The pasta for the Slinky Dog mac and cheese, that's how you say it, was specially sourced so that it springs when guests pick it up. Brian also discussed the plant-based options, including a bowl of cubed watermelon and impossible meat dishes. The desserts were inspired by a backyard cookout or potluck where pies are common. Some of the desserts on the menu are mini pies in jars. Man, I've never seen that at a Disney restaurant. It's almost as if they keep doing that because you can keep it in a fridge all day. How many Disney restaurants currently have like little jar desserts? There's a bunch of them. Roundup Rodeo Barbecue does have a smokehouse on site. You could see photos of that now. That is positive, right? Because they did build a smokehouse also for the Regal Eagle at EPCOT, and I think the food there turned out pretty good. So that makes me more hopeful for the food, at least, that they do have their own smokehouse on site. It's being made there. This could be good. We'll wait and we'll see on March 23rd. Stay tuned. We of course, will give you a review then. But it is, reminder, $45 for adults, $25 for children ages 3 to 9, plus tax and gratuity. Today's episode of News Today is brought to you by the Unlocked Magic app. Download the app at unlockedmagic.com and it will find Disney dining reservations for you so you don't have to, including Roundup Rodeo Barbecue. Just put in the request and wait for the app to send you a notice that a reservation is available, and then you can book it. You can schedule the app to search for reservations beyond the 60-day window so that as soon as it becomes available, it's searching for you. It offers unlimited dining reservation finder requests as well for only $5.99. Download the app from the link in our description and use code WDWNT for a 30-day free trial. The app also shows DVC room availability, attraction wait times, discounted tickets, crowd calendars, and exclusive community chats as well. So lots of great stuff in this app for you to enjoy. Head on over to unlockedmagic.com. Get ready for another celebration as Disney's Animal Kingdom will be celebrating its 25th anniversary on Earth Day, April 22nd. Disney has confirmed there will be limited time offerings coming to the park for the anniversary. This April, there will be new ways to join in the Earth Day celebrations and Animal Kingdom's milestone with new sweets and savory treats, as well as specialty merchandise. You're seeing some of that now. And limited time character sightings. We don't know what those will be, but stay tuned to WDWNT for more details. Of course, Animal Kingdom opened to guests on April 22nd, 1998. And we at WDWNT, in typical fashion, will be celebrating the anniversary of the park. We're actually going to have a little get-together on April 22nd at the park. So stay tuned for details, how you can be a part of that. We're going to have actually a big group Sanaa dinner the evening of April 21st, and then on the 22nd, we'll get together for some group rides, some games, some fun stuff at the park that coincide with what Disney will be doing that day as well. So stay tuned. We don't have all the details just yet, but we'll get them to you real soon. But mark the date on your calendar, folks. The family of Raleigh Crump, Disney legend and notable Imagineer, has announced this week his passing at age 93. The Facebook page for his group, It's Kind of a Cute Story, shared a message with the news. Quote, "It is with a heavy heart that we announce that Roland Raleigh Fargo Crump passed away peacefully this week at his home in Carlsbad, California. He was 93 years old. A truly one-of-a-kind individual, Raleigh's whimsical work has been featured all over the world. Whether it was his numerous contributions to the Walt Disney films and theme parks, his work for various pop culture luminaries like Ernie Ball and Jacques Cousteau, or his personal artwork, Raleigh's incredible style was uniquely his and instantly recognizable to many. Raleigh's most notable work for the Walt Disney Company has profoundly impacted the theme park industry over the years. His designs contributed to the company's most famous attractions, such as Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, the Haunted Mansion, It's a Small World, and more. His work went well beyond Disney as well, as he went on to create iconic work for Knott's Berry Farm, Busch Gardens, the Sultan of Oman, and many more. He leaves behind a legacy that can never be matched, and the magic he crafted for countless people worldwide will never be forgotten. Raleigh and his family would like to thank the fans for supporting his work over the years. His entire life was filled with one kind of a cute story after the next, and he will be remembered with lots of love. D23 gives a synopsis of his legacy as well. In 1959, he joined show design at WED Enterprises, now known as Imagineering. There he became one of Walt's key designers for some of Disneyland's groundbreaking new attractions and shops, including the Mansion, Tiki Room, and Adventureland Bazaar. Raleigh served as a key designer for Disney attractions at the 1964-65 New York World's Fair, including It's a Small World, for which he designed the Tower of the Four Winds Marquee. When the attraction moved to Disneyland in 1966, Raleigh designed the larger-than-life animated clock at its entrance, which sends puppet children on parade with each quarter-hour gong. After contributing to the initial design of the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World in Florida and developing stories and set design for NBC's Disney on Parade in 1970, Raleigh left the company to consult on projects including Busch Gardens in Florida and California, the ABC Wildlife Preserve in Maryland, and Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus World in Florida, among others. He returned in 1976 to contribute to EPCOT Center, serving as project designer for the Land and the Wonders of Life pavilions. He also participated in master planning for an expansion of Disneyland until 1981, when he again departed to lead design on a proposed Cousteau Ocean Center in Norfolk, Virginia, and to launch his own firm, the Mariposa Design Group, developing an array of themed projects around the world, including an international celebration for the country of Oman. In 1992, Raleigh returned to Imagineering as executive designer, redesigning and refurbishing the Land Pavilion and as well Innovations at EPCOT Center. Raleigh retired from the Walt Disney Company in 1996, but continued to work on a number of creative projects, and he released his autobiography, It's Kind of a Cute Story, in 2012. What do you say here? Raleigh Crump, one of the most legendary Imagineers from the most legendary era of Imagineering. Raleigh had such an incredible impact on so many things, little things that aren't mentioned there, things that might speak more to the Florida audience watching this show. Raleigh did work a lot on the opening of Disney World. The Mr. Toad ride that we had here, which was easily the better of the two ever built because it was dual track and really interesting, had different scenes. That Mr. Toad ride was there's a lot of Raleigh in that, and I'm honored that we have out in the museum here at the studio, we have one of the big shields from the trophy room that Raleigh worked on. That Mr. Toad ride left such an indelible mark on people, but also for those of us, maybe some of the younger people in the audience, Raleigh was such a big part of that. It's funny how many sort of older Imagineers sort of led the charge for that 90s redo of EPCOT, because Electric Umbrella had a lot of Raleigh in it too. So he worked on Innovations, but that was part of that project as well. And that Electric Umbrella interior will haunt me the rest of my life. It was so EPCOT, and the purple wall carpet and the big colorful umbrellas, and I don't think it was admired as much as it should have been. I know by the end people are like, the food's bad, and I don't know, the inside looks kind of old, but there was like a magic to that design of that space. That's hard to describe to people, with the big canopy outside and the neon. And I still to this day will argue that 90s EPCOT, that whole redo up until like Figment closes, up until then, that EPCOT is, I think, as good as EPCOT Center was. I think those two versions of EPCOT had their own merits. We certainly argue that EPCOT Center was probably slightly better, but there's some really good stuff in 90s EPCOT that really shines, and Raleigh was involved in a good amount of it. So, and the Land, he worked on that 90s version of the Land. Food rocks, man. I love me some food rocks. So, Raleigh, wherever you are, thank you so much. We appreciate everything you've given us. Thank you. Thank you so much. For the absolute latest on these stories and all that didn't make it into today's show, be sure to check WDWNT.com and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. Special shout out to all of our WIGS members who make this show happen every week. For the worldwide leader in Disney parks news, this is Tom Corliss saying, enjoy the rest of your today and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.